Welcome to Your Hometown Solutions, the real estate show that covers everything from foreclosures to Feng Shui. And in the studios with me today is my famous co-host, Jonathan Lack. Hi, Jonathan. How are you?
Hello, Jean, and it's great to be back.
Yes, we really enjoy doing the shows every week because there's always something new to talk about in real estate. And we're going to be introducing in the next couple minutes one of our favorite guests, and that's Carolyn Wolf. And she's a mortgage loan officer here in the area. And she's going to tell you all about some of the new programs and some of the things that you need to be aware of when purchasing a mortgage or when you're going out to qualify for a mortgage. So, John, let's talk a little bit about what's happening in real estate right now. We're in the October month of 2016. I like to say that because our shows are listened. You know, we're on the archives, and you don't know when somebody's going to be listening to the show. But we're seeing a big difference in what's happened during the summer months as far as sales and listings. Are you experiencing that as well in the closing end of the real estate? Because
absolutely, Jean. We are seeing a large pickup. We had been doing really well at the beginning of the year and through the year, but then we seem to hit a substantial lull in August and September. But now it seems to be coming back, and we seem to have a lot more transactions going on, a lot more contracts being run through our office with closing dates in the near future. So the market is picking up. We're seeing inventory go down, and the time for closings or the time on the market is shorter than it had been. So good news if you're selling, and also a great time to be buying with interest rates so low.
And just as a reminder, I like to say my famous co-host, he wears three hats, and we're so happy to have him here because anything real estate we can talk about. Jonathan Lack, and that's L-A-C-K. He is the broker owner of Waterview Realty. He also owns Waterview Title, and he is a partner and owner of Lack & Lack Chartered Attorneys at Law, specializing in real estate. So you have all the answers.
Well, I don't know if I have all the answers, but if I don't have them, I will certainly get them for you.
I always say I have all the answers. Unfortunately, I don't know what questions they go to. But anyway, we're seeing a nice incline on real estate. Lots of things are happening. It's especially, with the election in the horizon, we never know what's going to happen after that. Everybody, right now, the interest rates are fairly low, and it's easy to purchase. So if you're thinking about it, and we're going to go over some of the things you need to do to qualify to get a mortgage, I wouldn't wait until a lot of people want to wait till after January 1st. Let's see. Well, I don't know if that's such a good idea. I think when the time is right, it's right now.
Well, we'll be bringing Carolyn Wolf in a moment, but I don't believe any of us can predict what's going to happen. I don't think we know how the election's going to go. And if anybody's listening to this after November, then you'll know already. But there's going to be a change in the market regardless of how it goes. It's just the nature of our economy. It does go up and down, and election years do matter. So right now, rates are very low. I just closed the loan the other day, and it was at 3%, and that's just phenomenal as far as I'm concerned. That goes back to the 60s when you've had rates that low. So it's a great time to be buying. And these are 30-year fixed rate loans. So you buy now at 3.25%, you're good for 30 years. I can't predict, but I am reasonably certain rates will be going up. It's just natural that that's going to happen. And again, Carolyn would be able to better answer than I the effect of 1%. But a 4% loan is a very good loan, but 1% can still make a difference on your payment.
Well, without further ado, let's bring Carolyn in on the conversation. It's Carolyn Wolf. She's with Certified Mortgage Planters. Yeah, you're a gardener now. Planners. Get the teeth back in there. Certified Mortgage Planners. Carolyn Wolf, welcome to the show again. You're one of our favorite guests because you have a lot of great information for our listening audience.
Thank you, Jean and John. It's a pleasure to be back.
And I know to be legal, we have to give out your NMLS number. So go for it.
All right. Thank you, Jean. Yes, my NMLS number, which is our licensing number, is 268538. And for certified mortgage, the branch license number is 1420061.
And Carolyn, your offices are right here on the Space Coast in Indian Harbor Beach. You're a live person in a brick and mortar building that you can actually dial a phone and talk to or text to. You're not somewhere up in a cloud somewhere that
Right.
nobody can ever talk to you, which is one of the things we always want to emphasize. And I know people have been listening to the shows. They'll hear this message over and over again, but it's always worth repeating. My personal opinion is, and I think Jonathan will back me up on this, is you want to refrain from using all the online mortgage companies that are advertising, on television and so forth. Because if you're going for this important decision and you've got to declare different information, I think it's much better in person, because when it comes time to close that loan, I've been in situations where we're right up to 5 o'clock on a Friday night. We're trying to close, and all of a sudden there's some glitch in something, some paperwork, and it has to do with the mortgage, and we can't get a hold of anyone because it's in the cloud. It's a different person every time you call the 800 number. You don't have that personal attention that you need. So having someone that you can, even if you're not in the Space Coast area, but if you're in Florida, because you can handle all of Florida loans,
Right.
at least it's a real person that you're going to get the same person every time you call. You can talk to Carolyn. You can go in person. That, to me, means a lot more, because we know that paperwork's going to be done by one person and not shuffled down the street. And it's not as though the online rates are better. They're just advertising, and they, how we are. We tend to want to listen to everything that's on TV, but it's not always better.
Right.
What's your opinion on that,
I
Jonathan?
agree with you completely. And while you were talking, I was thinking of an analogy. I don't know if this works because I just thought of it now, but it's kind of like buying a suit off the rack. You go to these internet companies and you think, oh, this will be quick and easy. It's a one size fits all, and I'll just buy it and it's quick and it's easy, as opposed to going to the tailor and getting your suit made. However, the significant difference, obviously, when you go to the tailor, you get your custom suit. It looks better. Everybody recognizes that's a nicer, better way to go, but most people don't, because of course, it seems more expensive. In the mortgage world, it is not going to cost you more to go to a competent personal tailor or personal
Correct.
mortgage broker. The rates are often the same or better when you're working with somebody personally. So there's that tailored mortgage that covers your needs, as opposed to the one size fits all, can often get you a better rate, cost you less money instead of costing you more. So better product at a better price.
Right. And
Well-
also, I would like to add is that's a great analogy, because the one size fit all does not necessarily fit borrowers, because everybody is very different. So each individual person, each individual product, each individual home is going to needs to be tailor-made.
Exactly, which was our other versus banker versus broker. And a lot of people don't know that there's a difference. And when you go to your local banker, they might only have one or two products
Right.
that they can use. Well, Carolyn Wolfe, that's WOLFE, with Certified Mortgage Planners, is a broker. So you have a wide variety. You have the smorgasbord of
Yeah.
mortgages. There's a lot of things out there that fit specific people better. Sometimes if you own your own business, it's tough to get a traditional mortgage because it's hard to prove income.
Right.
Things like that. So going to a broker, you have the same things that the bankers have, but you have more of different types of mortgages. So that's why we
Exactly.
like a broker over a banker. So we hope we made that perfectly clear. So tell us a little bit let's talk about maybe qualifying and some of the things that preparing for that home purchase and financing, some of the tips that you have readily at hand that you're willing to share. And by the way, give out your phone number or your website
Okay.
right now before we forget.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jean. Yes, my phone number is area code 321-795-9103. Or if you prefer email, it is Carolyn. It's CAROLYN at FloridaLendingPro.com.
We'll give that out again in a couple moments. But one of the things that you can call Carolyn and say, I'm thinking about it. I just don't know how to qualify myself or what to do. That's easy. We can do some of this over the phone. We can make it so easy for people. But the one thing you want to do is have that person on the other line be able to qualify you using a wide ruler.
Right, and asking all the right questions.
Exactly. So some of the things that you like to share with people, give us some of the tips on preparing themselves for the purchase and financing.
Okay, thank you, Jean. A lot of the great tips, one of the best ones I can tell people is don't change your jobs. If you're thinking about possibly changing a job for the future, maybe hang on, get pre-qualified. Even once you're qualified, don't change your job. Because once you change your job, then the whole qualification stops. Credit paid on time. If you have revolving credit cards, the best thing you can do to give yourself a bump in your credit score would be to keep those below a 30% allowable limit. That's one thing that consumers are not aware of. It's not readily given to us as far as consumers. But if you say, for example, you have a $1,000 limit on a credit card, if you exceed $300 on your balance, it lowers our credit scores.
Exactly.
To interject, because this question has been asked of me, somebody trying to build their credit. They recently have obtained a credit card, and so now they're trying to build their credit.
Right.
Is it better to pay it off every month and therefore, in essence, not use the credit? In other words, charge things up and pay it off, kind of like an American Express card, or is it better to carry up to but under the 30%?
I've been told both. I mean, you could. It's kind of a tricky. I know.
World.
Because it does change, but but definitely use it and pay it, and use it and pay it.
Okay.
And I do tell people, probably like you do, John, especially when we're trying to build credit and credit is new to us, use it for those important things like your gas and grocery. Don't get caught or get hooked into spending.
It's a slippery slope.
Right,
It's
exactly. And
slope.
next thing you know, you are over that 30% and you're having a hard time making the payment.
I'll catch it up next month.
Right, right, exactly.
So just so people understand this, because I know a lot of times when you're listening, it's hard to maybe put it all together. A lot of people think, oh, I've got this credit card and I've got a $10,000 limit on it. So they like that. They think I've got $10,000.
Right.
However, if they have three at $1,000 a piece, they should not take those three at $1,000 minimum and max them out. They need to take that $10,000 and only bring it up to $3,000 max. That would be like 30%.
Correct.
So even though you have that $10,000 limit, keep that at 30%.
30% or below.
You don't want anything that is maxed out. Even if you only have a $1,000 credit card, you don't want it maxed out to $1,000.
Right,
You'd
exactly.
be better off only using the $10,000 up to 30%. I hope that made it clear. I think I'm more confused now.
Well, it is. I think what you did is very clear that the goal is to have this headroom, so to speak.
Right.
So you have however much credit you have, whether it's 1,000 or 10,000, you only want to use 30% of it. And whether that's spread over one card or three cards or five cards, each of them should be under the 30%. So if you're in need of additional credit, I guess at some point it might be a margin where too many credit cards at 30% might be bad, but I think they're looking at the overall credit available to the overall credit used, and as Carolyn is saying, that number should be 30%.
Right.
Now, one of the myths today, and we'll try to clear that up, is years ago, if you had, let's just say, everybody was kind of collecting credit cards. It wasn't uncommon to have 10 credit cards, Visas and MasterCards and so forth. But that worked against you when you went to borrow money, because even if you did not have any purchases on those cards, the fact that you could purchase up to $5,000 on each one or whatever worked against you. Is that still the rule today?
Not necessarily. In very specific situations, it can be if there's other issues with the whole file or with the whole package put together. But they don't look at it that much anymore as far as too much credit, even if you have no debt on the credit.
I want to spin the conversation back. We could, and probably should, Jean, have a whole show on credit scoring and such, though it is one of those constantly changing areas. So even having a show with archives, it might change by the time people listen to it. But it is a very important area. But like to get us back to